Guys, hey guys, oh, there we go. Hey guys, welcome to today's video. This is gonna be the first video you're gonna see with me on with the face cam, and I wanted to do this so you guys can see my reactions to stuff. This is gonna be a very short live broadcast, which we're gonna turn into a video. And today's video is going to be on my top 5 loadouts, and then an honorable mention. These are in my opinion, what are the best, and it is up to you. You know, if you like it. The perk packages that you see are going to be identical in all of them, and those are specifically for because I'm a plunder player. If you'd like, I can go through and show you what like a good resurgence one would be, and a good battle royale one would be, which I don't think they'd be any different. So, but without further ado, let's get into it here. So this, in my opinion, is the absolute meta: the Cronin Squall and the MP5. This is personally how I built my Cronin Squall. Um, Except I don't use the aim up. That's my bad. Should have seen that. Doo -doo -doo. There we go. And then farthest eye position. There we go. So yeah, I use the SZ SR07 scope on all my long range weapons. It gives you 1.14 zoom, and it has the same minimal visual recoil that the aim up OP has. You just saw tune for aim down sight and farthest eye position, and then we have the HR 6.8 barrel, tune for recoil steadiness and for damage range. And it gives you everything. It gives you damage range, bullet velocity, recoil control, hip fire accuracy, but that doesn't really matter. And then the Cronin Squall's recoil pattern, if you look at it, it goes up a little bit and then it starts to veer off to the left. So we want to mitigate that veering off to the left if we want to shoot it really straight. So we use the TYLR8 compensator. It gives us 27% horizontal recoil control and 7% vertical recoil control. So it does actually help us with that vertical recoil control, even though in the game it says it doesn't. So we tune that for recoil stabilization and for gun kick control. The next thing we add is the FTAC Ripper. I like the recoil stabilization on this. It helps keep your shots straight and on point, and it helps mitigate some of that recoil that goes back and forth. Gives you about 4% to both horizontal and vertical, but the biggest benefit here is the aim sway reduction. It's like 80 or 85% or something like that. You can go over to truegamedata.com, and he has the percentages on those. So we tune 0.62 to recoil stabilization and then 0.28 towards aiming idle stability. And then 50 round drum. It's not the fastest firing weapon in the game. I think it's just shy of 700 rounds a minute. But you'd be surprised, you go through ammo pretty quick. So definitely the 50 round mag is probably the only choice, even in solos, I'd say. Next, we'll go to the MP5, and this is my personal build against squads, even quads and all that other stuff. We go with the Falcon barrel, and we tune for recoil steadiness here to give it a little bit of consistency at long range, and then tune for ADS speed. Then we go with the VLK laser, tune for sprint to fire and for aim down sight speed. And then the mirror recoil stock, which we tune for aim down sight and aim walking movement speed. The Lockman TCG10 grip, which we tune for aim down sight and sprint to fire. And then the 40 round mag, which I think is plenty enough ammo. If you feel like for whatever reason it's not, you can always switch over to the 50 round drum. That's personal preference. I run smoke grenades and throwing knives. I was running snapshots, but I changed it up a little bit. I like the smokes better. I like being able to get out of a sticky situation, and since I run cold-blooded, I run cold-blooded and smoke grenades. You know, obviously helps you get out of some sticky situations there. Throwing knives for the instant thirst, so that way I don't have to worry about wasting ammo, and then I'll also have to worry about them getting rezzed if I'm close enough. It's blap 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 down, throwing knife. So number 2, I believe that the TAC 56 is probably the second best gun in the game. It does not do the most damage, but it's just very, very accurate. Like, it has like no recoil to it whatsoever, and this build has really, really high bullet velocity and very good control as well. So we go with the 60 round mag. You could go with the 40. It does have a slower fire rate, but 60 is fine because you're going to want to thirst those players at range, you know, and then if you have to at medium range, you can down multiple players, which is nice. We do the 5.56 high velocity ammo, tuned for recoil. If you wanted to, you could take that off and like add a rear grip, or if you don't like the iron sights as much as I do, you could 100% go for a sight, whether it be the Cronin Mini Pro or the AMOP V4, or like I said, I like the SZSR07. A friend of mine uses the SZ Recharge, so I mean, it's all about personal preference. You with the light recoil this gun has, you could probably also get away with like the Schlager or the VLK optic as well. So that's all up to personal preference. And then we go with the F-Tac Ripper once again for the recoil stabilization and for the aim sway reduction. Um, we tune for recoil stabilization and aiming idle stability. And then we go with the Harbinger D20 because this one actually offers us recoil control. Like the Echoless 80 or the Polar Fire, whichever one you end up getting for whatever gun you're using. Neither one of those offers any recoil control, but they offer the same bullet velocity and damage range benefits as each other, as the Harbinger or the ZLR. But I like the ZLR, even though it's a bit slower, it does offer the recoil control on top of the bullet velocity and damage range increase. So you get 3.5% for both. So we tune for aim down sight speed to kind of mitigate a little bit of that, and then we tune for aiming idle stability to also kind of mitigate some of the loss that we get of that. And then we use, like I said, this build is all about it's all about bullet velocity. Like you're gonna be destroying people out of the air. Like basically, you're gonna point at them and shoot up to like 60 or 70 meters. So it's gonna be really easy to beam people out of the air with this build. And we tuned 0.15 up to recoil steadiness and 0.13 to aim down sight speed. And that's that. And then the Vaznev is definitely the second fastest killing gun in the game. I like this over the MP5. It's just a feel thing. Like I get an up close battle, I'm getting rocked by the MP5 every time. But I try, knowing that people are going to use that, I try to take those fights a little bit longer, and that's why we got the CAS 1 381 millimeter barrel. We tune for A walking speed and ADS speed. The FSS OLV laser, which we tune for sprint to fire and aim down sight. The broadside FCT, which we tune for aim down sight and aim walking speed. And then the TrueTac grip, which we tune for recoil steadiness to add a little bit of consistency and sprint to fire speed. And we have the 45 round mag. If you're running close with your squad, you could get away with running a 30 round mag, believe it or not, because this thing kills fast enough. And at that point, if you want to run like the FSS shark fin underbarrel, so that way your guy's not holding the gun like this, with his thumb on top. It kind of looks weird, and I don't know, it's kind of distracting. Or you can run overpressured ammo, and then you'd be fine. You'd be good to go. Smokes, throwing knives, same perk package, double time, cold-blooded, ghost. I don't like to be seen on the map. I'm the mid-range guy in my squads. But I will rush in if I have to, and it's nice to be able to go from mid-range to close range and not have people see where I am, unless they have an advanced UAV. So the number 3 is going to be the Socken MG38, and this thing is just an absolute laser beam. It does have a really quick time to kill. Its practical TTK in the first 40 or so meters is like 560 something or 570 something, which is stupid fast. And the drop off is like little. It's tiny. It has little drop off. So it's killing quick, and it's an absolute laser beam. So we got the same optic as I always use, the SZ SR07. This time I tuned it for flinch resistance because I was testing it, and the farthest eye position. But we're going to go back to tuning for aim down sight speed here. Then we got the Bruin Silver Series barrel, which we tune for recoil steadiness and some aim down sight speed to get a little bit of that back. You don't really need to increase the damage range. It's just going to fry no matter what. So I recommend personally to aim down sight speed there. I'm going to say the same thing here. I tried to tune this for aim down sight speed, but it actually doesn't do anything on the graph. So we went for recoil smoothness and for bullet velocity. And then the F-Tac Ripper, same thing as always, recoil stabilization, aim and idle stability, try to maximize all that. And then the Stip 40 grip, we tune for aim down sight speed to get a little bit of that back, and the aiming idle stability as well to help keep it consistent at that long range. And then the third fastest killing SMG here in the game is the MP7, and this is my build. This is the one that I've stuck with for the most part. Um, it's just a very consistent build, and it's really good at short and medium range. Makes an excellent sniper support. The only thing that I've done differently is since they've gone and buffed, um, since they've made the cons not as bad on the magazines, I've gone ahead and upped myself to the 50 round magazine. I don't want to do the 60 because even though it's not as slow as it was, it's still pretty slow. So we got the Lockshot KT85, which helps with vertical and horizontal recoil pretty evenly, which we tune for aim down sight speed, and then we tune for gun kick control. Then we got the VLK laser, tuned for sprint to fire and aim down sight speed. And then we got the Demo RXT stock, which we tune for aim down sight and aiming idle stability to kind of give you some consistency in the mid range there. And then I go with the ZLR combat grip for extra recoil control just to make sure it's extra, extra, extra steady. And I tune for aim down sight and sprint to fire to kind of make this a very well-rounded attachment. So that's that. Same perk package and lethal tacticals. Number 4, we have the Lockman 556, the absolute laser beam that they have spent the last season and a half buffing and making it better. And now I do believe that this is probably one of the best guns in the game, period. So same thing as always here, except we're going to change this once again. That was just an experiment to try to get that done. So we have the farthest eye position, ADS speed on the tunes for the SRO7, 60 round mag. It does have quite a high fire rate. And you blow through ammo really fast. If you're a solo resurgence player or a solos battle royale player, 40 round mag is perfectly fine. As always, F-Tac Ripper, recoil stabilization, aiming idle stability, Harbinger G20, again, recoil smoothness, and we tune this one for aiming idle stability to try to get some of that back. And then the Lockman 15.9-inch barrel, which we tune for recoil steadiness and damage range. And this is definitely, again, one of the best guns in the game. Um, if not, it probably is honestly the best gun in the game. It has almost zero recoil. There's a little bit of like back and forth with this build, so if that was something that you're not comfortable with, as my channel is aimed towards helping the average casual player, you could switch out the D20 for something that gives horizontal recoil control. Like you could do the Castle Comp or the X10 Havoc. These are the two good ones because they help with the vertical recoil quite a bit too. And then the P90, this thing is a monster. Like, it does not have the fastest TTK at the close range. It's like, it's a little bit worse than the MP7, but it has better bullet velocity than any SMG. I think it and the FSS Hurricane have the best bullet velocities in the SMG class. And its damage over medium range is pretty fucking sick. So, we got the Stip 40 grip, which is for recoil control, give it a little bit of steadiness, but we tuned for the inverse to make it a more well-rounded attachment. And then we have, behind my face game here, we have the TV Tacome for sprint to fire and aim down sight speed, which we tuned for recoil stabilization to make it feel a little better, and then aim down sight speed. And then we go for the hollow extended stock here. A lot of people don't use the stocks at all. They'll go with the barrel or they'll go with the light rail to give the movement speed. I personally like this one because it doesn't hurt your recoil control at all, but it does give you sprint speed. So what we do is we tune it for ADS speed and aim walking speed, so that way we're strafing nice and quick. VLK laser, same thing as always. We tune for aim down sight and sprint to fire speed, and then the FTAC Castle Comp. I find that the P90 has more horizontal bounce than the other ones, so that's why I like this one personally. Sorry about that. So that's the build there. And this gun, like I said, fly. It had such great movement speed. And then this build specifically is built to enhance all the mobility on the gun. But that's next. And this is all interchangeable. I want to mention that, like, you don't have to run these two weapons and these two weapons and these two weapons together. You can interchange them however you feel comfortable. So number 5, and this would be higher if the recoil wasn't so nasty on it. Number 5 is the Kastov 762. This is my personal build, and I use this for all squad sizes. It's because of the slow fire rate. So once again, SRO7, and we tune it for aim down sight in the farthest side position. We use the CAS 10 barrel because it gives us the best damage range boost out of the barrels, and a pretty decent bullet velocity boost. And it helps a little bit with recoil control. If you really wanted to, I suppose you could use this barrel. It has less cons, um, and it helps with recoil control way more than the other ones. It's the best barrel for that, and it helps with bullet velocity. But I want as much damage range added to this thing as I possibly can get, and then the CAS 10 barrel helps with that. So we tune that for recoil steadiness and for better damage range. And then we got the ZLR Talon 5, once again tuned for aiming idle stability and for recoil smoothness. F-Tac Ripper, again, recoil steadiness, aiming idle stability, and then I don't use a magazine on this because the fire rate's so slow and this thing hits like a truck. It only takes like 6 or 7 bullets to down somebody, so you don't really need anything. I mean, you could run the 4D rounder if you want. I wanted the extra recoil control, so that's what I did. I did the Demo X2 grip, tuned for recoil steadiness and aiming idle stability. But again, you could drop that for the magazine, or however you want to do it. You could even drop the barrel for the magazine. It's up to you guys. But yeah, so this is my build, and then this is probably going to surprise a lot of people, but the FSS Hurricane is actually one of the best SMGs in the game, TTK wise, movement speed wise, and just in general. It has your default 50 round mag on it, and then it's with all the attachments I have here. It has a super fast aim down sight speed. You get extended damage range off the barrel, and then you get the flinch bonuses to the overpressured rounds. So we used a phantom grip, which gives us, a stupid fast aim down sight speed bonus and sprint to fire speed. We tune for recoil steadiness just to get some of that back, and then sprint to fire speed. Then we have the Demo Quicksilver series stock, or however you say it. Awesome sprint speed, awesome everything. I don't know why it's not tuned out. This is a little weird. There we go. So sprint speed, it gives us all movement-based stuff. It does hurt the recoil control, but if you use this thing, you're going to see it doesn't have hardly any recoil at all, even built this way. So aim down sight, aim walking speed. Then the FSS OLV laser, you know how we tune it, sprint to fire, aim down sight speed. The cannonade we tune for a little bit of recoil steadiness to make it feel more consistent, and then we also go for aim down sight speed to help mitigate some of the bit that we lose from it. And then we go overpressured ammo here, and we tune for damage range and bullet velocity. And this gun, like I said, you guys will be surprised at how much this gun actually fries. Nothing changed on anything else there. So I do have an honorable mention. Honorable mention is going to be the TAC V. This thing got nerfed into the ground season 2. Or 2 reloaded. I can't remember which one it was. For no reason, basically. Like, it was really strong, but like the RPK was stronger and it was just better. It had 0 recoil and it had no recoil, excellent TTK, fast reload speed because it was a drum mag instead of, a belt-fed LMG. It was just better, obviously. We remember that nightmare. Fennec, RBK, fucking everybody. But this was the gun that people started switching to because it killed faster. But the problem with that is it still had a lot of recoil. This was a high-skilled weapon. Think the AMAX or the UGM-8, after they nerfed the recoil on that, it had a bit more recoil, but it still killed really fast. And this is the build that I've settled on, and I absolutely love it. This is the build that I used in my last 2 videos to fry people with, so I'm not bullshitting here. So we go with the Tempest GH50. We tune it for recoil stabilization and gun kick control. We do absolutely everything on this to make sure we mitigate as much recoil as we can. Um, so this is how we tune this, and this one helps 27% vertical recoil control, and I think 7 or 10% with horizontal, which is whatever. It doesn't really have any horizontal recoil control. Then we go lock grip precision. Once again, I said we want as much recoil mitigation as we possibly can. So this particular attachment gives us 9% vertical and horizontal recoil control. So that's what we're using. And we're going to tune for its hip recoil control, which there's like a, I don't know if it's a bug or a feature or something or whatever, but Tony from True Game Data found out that when you tune it for hip recoil control, you're actually increasing the overall recoil control as well. And then we tune for the aim down sight speed to help get some of that back. High velocity. I don't know why it's. I have some old stuff here. This is probably I probably built this in season 2, if we're being honest here. And there we go. So we're tuning that for recoil smoothness and recoil steadiness. 50 round drum magazine. If you're playing solos or even duos, you can get away with the 30 round mag because this is really, really slow firing. Um, but playing quads and stuff and me practicing trying to shoot people out of the air, I'm 50 round mag all the way. FSS combat grip, tuned for recoil steadiness and aiming idle stability. And that's that for that. And then this is the other honorable mention for SMG. Has an incredible time to kill. Has, well, I wouldn't say an incredible time to kill. It has a really good time to kill. It's right up there with the Hurricane and the PDW. Excellent movement speed. Probably the best movement speed in class. If I had to guess. You guys can go to tgd.com, truegamedata.com, and test and look at all the stats and see. I could be wrong, but I know it's at least top 3, and it's really good. And it has like no recoil. The whole thing holding it back is the magazine. Its base magazine is 28, and its extended mag is only 32. So, not very good outside of solos and duos, but if you know what you're doing and you're a more skilled player, the 32 round mag is fine. You're going to be able to, smoke yourself, run outside the building, reload while you're, walking around and stuff, play it up, do whatever you got to do. You can do it. So we build this with the Bruin Q900 grip. We tune to enhance everything here, sprint to fire and aim down sight speed. And then we go with the TV Taco, or no, it's not called that on this one. It's the FTAC C11 Riser. Sprint to fire speed, aim down sight speed. Doesn't hurt our recoil control, so we add some with the tunes, and we also add some extra aim down sight speed as well. Then we have the VLK laser as always. We tune the same thing, sprint to fire, aim down sight speed to enhance that. And then with this one, instead of going with a muzzle or stock or extra ammo, we go with the 16.5-inch barrel because this gives us everything that we want. It gives us damage range, movement speed, which is huge, and bullet velocity. So this thing feels great at the mid range, and it still takes on players at mid range, and it doesn't blow through a whole mag to down somebody, which is nice. So we tune for recoil steadiness and for extra damage range, just for those mid range engagements. And that'll do it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. There are plenty of other guns that I thought about putting on the list, but this is my specific personal top 5 plus honorable mention. These are the ones that I think are the best of the best. Some of them are in there because of their ease of use. The others are in there because their TTK is phenomenal. If you have any guns that you want to know more about, if you want the best free recoil free builds on things, you just shoot me a comment on the video. Make sure you like the video. If you're new, subscribe to the channel. It means a lot. So don't the likes. It goes a long way. And that'll do it for today, guys. Thank you for tuning in, and I will catch you guys in the next